Today, Monday, March 21st. Hope you had a great weekend. Time worshiping the Lord together with other believers, being challenged and growing in your faith, serving one another and loving one another as the Lord desires in and for our lives. Our reading today, Exodus 32, John 11, Proverbs 8, and Ephesians 1. Great little thing you can do in Ephesians 1 is get a piece of paper out and start writing down all the things it tells you of who you are in Christ. And what they'll do is give you this picture of the new identity of who you are in Christ. And you'll have that for when days where you question, days where you wonder. And you just read through that list and go, no, here's who I am in Christ. Here's what Jesus has done. It's a great chapter. We're going to spend our time in Exodus 32. And it's an interesting chapter. It begins with Moses up, still getting the Ten Commandments, and the people kind of wondering what happened to Moses. So they go to Aaron, hey, we don't know what happened to this Moses guy, so make us gods. So Aaron's like, all right, what do you got? You got gold? Okay, bring me the gold, and we'll make this golden calf, and we're going to worship and celebrate the Lord. That's not how it works. And God was not amused by this. And so, verse 7, he tells Moses, go down, for your people whom you brought up out of Egypt have corrupted themselves. They have turned aside quickly out of the way that I have commanded them. They have made for themselves a golden calf, have worshipped it, and sacrificed to it. They said, these are your gods, O Israel, who brought you up out of Egypt. He says, leave me alone, because I'm going to go after them. I'm going to wipe them out. Now, just take a moment and think about this for a second. It makes no sense. Right? They've barely been out of Egypt. The sand of Egypt is still kind of there. The memories are still clear. And yet they, in a very short time, forget the goodness of God. In a very short time, forget the hand of God and how God worked and moved in their lives to free them. And it's easy to look back and go, man, that's messed up. And then to remember how often in our own lives we forget the things that God has done. Maybe you're thinking, well, yeah, God doesn't do anything like that dramatic in my life, so for sure I forget, because everything else is just small details. Was salvation a small detail? You move from death to life. It's not that small. The things God does, the gifts he gives, the way that he provides, it's not small. And yet, when we lose the heart of thanksgiving, we look to blame. That's what happens here. And when you start to blame and you start to wonder, you start to worship elsewhere. I'm not talking about a building and a group. I'm talking about you stop worshiping the Lord and worship something else to satisfy. Something else to take that itch. Something else that will be immediate gratification rather than the King of the universe, the God who loves you, the God who saved you, the God who continues to do good in your life. Moses talks God out of it, thankfully. It's quite the offer, though. Hey, I'm going to destroy them all. I'll start over with you. No, thank you. He goes down, he breaks the commandments, they makes the people drink from the water, and then he confronts Aaron. Like, what happened here? What are you doing? That's it. Rough translation. Verse 21. Verse 22, Aaron says, well, let not the anger of my Lord burn hot. You know the people. They're set on evil. They said to me, make us gods who shall go before us. And as for this Moses, the man who brought us up out of the land of Egypt, we don't know what has become of him. So I said, anyone who has gold, take it off. So they gave it to me, threw it into the fire, and out came this calf. That was his answer. The people, it's their fault. This is kind of a common theme when sin happens in lives. You go back to the garden, and Adam is the woman you gave me. Eve is the snake. The snake, of course, he had no leg to stand on. But it's just easy to blame someone else rather than take responsibility. And how absurd it must have been for Moses to listen. As Aaron says, well, there's all this gold, I threw it in the fire, and out came this calf. How sad. How quickly we turn from the one true God. And again, it's easy to think of them and go, man, that's messed up. And how quickly we turn from the one true God. God's a holy God. He says, be holy as I am holy. We all stumble in many ways, but let's stumble forward. When we're messing up, let's come to the altar of grace and come repenting and receive forgiveness. That's what the Bible tells us. Let's not have excuses. Till next time, keep growing little by little.